guys. Okay, so I have 13 games that you can play in a staff meeting, at a holiday party, faculty meeting, with your family on New Year's Eve. It's just New Year games, okay? So before I get started, I want to tell you I have an Etsy store where I sell this very book with these games already pre-built, ready to go. Check it out. But if you want to recreate these on your own, feel free. I'm about to show you how. Okay, so first of all, 2024 is the year of the dragon. So this is Find Your Dragon Name. This would be really fun to have this up on the board as people are coming into a meeting. They have a little name tag they got to put their dragon name on. And, you know, just a fun, cute little thing to do. Match that meme. So here's what I've done. I've taken popular memes from the year and I've removed the phrases. And so I have the phrases here on a piece of paper and they have to match the phrase up to the meme. And then in the end, you know, you reveal the correct answers and see how many got that right. So they would do that as a team. Okay, looking back, this is something I actually completely made myself, so you can't find this anywhere else. What I did is I took 24 events from 2023, 2 from each month, and I documented these here on little cards. So staff or players or kids or whoever's playing, they get a poster board and they mark out the different months, January, February, March, April, and so on. And they get these 24 events and they cut them into strips. And then they have, say, 15, 20 minutes where they have to work with their team members to figure out which 2 events happened in each of the 12 months. And then in the end, you know, you share the answers, see how many they got right. So these events are pretty common things that, you know, you forgot happened and then you remember, you hear about it and it's like a little conversation piece, you know, and then some of the things maybe they haven't heard about. It's just kind of interesting. Okay, let's move on here. Okay, so I have what would the boss say? And so this is, you know, you designate some person who has filled this out prior to the activity. You print this off and then as teams or as individuals, they have to guess what that person said or how they would answer the different questions. Baby, It's Cold Outside. I stole this one from my Christmas game book because it just applies. It's winter and it's funny. It's so funny. So you give teams a bunch of clothing items and you set a timer and then whichever team can get the most clothing items on their volunteer designated person, you know, within the amount of time, they win. It's very funny. You can get lots of clothes from the thrift store. So this can actually be very cheap and pretty funny to watch. Okay, teacher thoughts. So this one's actually very unique to teachers. So this probably wouldn't work like in an office party or your New Year's Eve party with your family unless you have lots of educators. But basically you give teachers a note card and then you read a question. So here's category question number 1. What is something that homeschool kids would have a hard time getting used to if they attended our school? So everyone writes down their answers and then someone collects those and that person who collects them, they are sorting them out while the teachers then go on to the next question and they're given a new card. The person that is sorting, what they're doing is they're sorting out, you know, mediocre, not funny answers, and they're pulling out the profound, the hilarious answers. You know, it's usually like 5 or 10 out of like 50 cards you'll get. So it's not going to be a whole lot. And then they read off in the end, you know, after you went through all these questions, then you go back through them and you say, okay, what is something that homeschool kids would have a hard time getting used to? And they read their responses. So you might think, oh, well, you know, I can't think of anything good, so probably nobody else can either. You would be surprised. I did a version of this with students for many years, and I did it at Halloween. What is scarier than a monster? And every year I thought, okay, I've exhausted all the possibilities, and kids always surprised me, and with very profound things and absolutely hilarious things that I would have never thought of. Same thing's going to happen here. Pay attention to the party hat. Everyone wears a hat. I know some people won't like this game. And I would say if people don't want to wear a hat, it's okay. They don't have to wear a hat. But for the most part, everyone puts on a party hat. One person's designated as the leader. And then at some point during the meeting, when they take off their hat, everyone else should too. And then the last person wearing a hat, they're the biggest loser, you know. Partner up. This is pretty funny. So there's these different phrases. They get one half of a phrase. Okay. So the starter phrases are I will stop or I will start. And then we have all of these ending phrases. The goal is not to make a good New Year's resolution. The goal is to make a bad resolution. So they've got to partner up with someone who makes a bad resolution. So, for example, I will stop drinking water. So it's just kind of a funny little way to partner them up, and then they have to share something. Maybe they share their New Year's resolutions or what they did over the holiday or something like that. The 2024 fortune teller, this is pretty hilarious too. So you get some chocolate kisses, and on the bottom you use a permanent marker, mark it with a number, or get those little round stickers, put the number on there and stick it on the kiss, or actually take the fortunes that I'm about to show you, fold them up, and use double-sided sticky tape to stick it to the bottom. Then you either pass out the kisses or they grab one on their way in, whatever. And then that number corresponds to a fortune, to something that's going to happen to them in 2024. So they might get the number 4, and it's something good. You will receive positive recognition from a fellow staff member. Cool. But they might get something like number 3. You will get a baked good that contains laxatives. Hey, so these can be pretty funny. Don't drop the ball. Also stole this one from my Christmas book that I also sell on Etsy. And this is where you take little gifts and trinkets, you wrap them up in plastic wrap, and then people have to wear the oven mitts and try to unwrap it. This would probably take some time, so probably with smaller groups. Okay, we got ping pong party. You have party hats, you line them up on the edge of a table where they're very close, but not over the top, and then teams have to use ping pongs and try to knock their 5 hats off of the table. How has life changed in 100 years in America? So you have teams, they each have like a whiteboard or this white paper. You ask a question, they all write down their answers and reveal them, and then they get a point for the answers they have right, and then you go on to the next question. A sample question is, what was the average age that a child dropped out of school in 1924 to go to work? And I'm not going to tell you the answer, but it was very young. But there's 10 different, just not necessarily about school, just about life in 1924. Jingle bells. So this one's kind of difficult. Basically, you have 5 containers for each team that's going to compete. And in those 5 boxes, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 jingle bells. And the goal is they have to listen to the box, to the sound, and try to line them up from 1 to 5 based on how many jingle bells are in there. The kicker is, while that's happening, while they're trying to do that, everybody else in the room is singing jingle bells. So there's like a lot of noise going on in the room. And they're on a time constraint because it only takes about 2 minutes to sing that song. You can also use different sized boxes. So depending on how good you think these people will be at this, you can make it more complicated. Use different sized boxes to kind of spice that up. And so, okay, that's it. That was 13 games for the new year that you can use with your staff and your faculty meetings. Use them with your family on New Year's Eve for a New Year's party. Lots of fun. Etsy store, full book that you've just seen, every detail right there. You also get the Canva template, so you can go in just like you see here and edit and change things out that you don't like or you want to add to, whatever you want to do. So check it out, and happy holidays. Happy New Year.